Ignoring the washing machine beside me and the fan that's going to be a little bit noisy going nearby, this is my review of Meg by Steve Alten. This is apparently the first book in a series. I think I'm going to be good with just reading the first book, but this is a favorite novel of Erica from Perks of Books, and I picked it up because of her enthusiasm for it. She told me it would be quite funny, and it was. Putting this review together, though, I'm not used to doing humorous reviews, humorous books. I am used to doing serious books, to reviewing literature, but as Jessie from Rebel Reads told me, sometimes you can't take life so seriously. This is what Meg teaches us. So there she is, she's been quoted. But Meg. The plot is fairly basic. You have a giant prehistoric shark of some sort called a megalodon, a meg, and these things only survive in Mariana's Trench, deep undersea. They are trapped by cold currents of water and cannot come up to the surface. Nobody believes they exist except for one guy, our main character, Jonas, who is kind of an expert in these creatures. Naturally, problems begin in this novel when one of these megs breaks through to the surface and begins to terrorize other sharks, other fish, begins to terrorize humans, and basically goes on a killing spree. So I bought this because I wanted a nice light read. I wanted to laugh a bit. That's what I got. I got a light read. I got something to laugh at. Bad dialogue. Questionable character decisions, random dumps of information. Now, these horrific deaths and idiotic character decisions and bad dialogue might have been a lot funnier to me if I hadn't spent a good chunk of my teenage years reading novels of this caliber. I was reminded of, I think it was called The Poseidon Adventure. I don't remember who it's by at this point, but basically an ocean liner that flips upside down. Passengers are trapped inside, and they must work their way to the surface. I think it was published in the 60s or 70s or something. I think a movie might have been made, but these two novels seemed very similar to me in just the ridiculousness of the situations that the characters get themselves into, the quality of the dialogue, the quality of the writing overall. Then, of course, there were all the Alistair MacLean novels that I read, which are of a slightly higher caliber writing than this, but still pretty ridiculous. You had things like terrorists threatening to blow up dams in the Netherlands. You had presidents getting kidnapped on the Golden Gate Bridge. You had it's been so long since I read those novels, but just absolutely ridiculous premises. Just to make this a fair review, I will voice some criticisms, some issues that I did notice that are problems with the writing that prevent it from being a good novel, but they made me laugh. These are the things that had me laughing at this novel. So, characters for one. Jonas's wife, she is a bit of a conniving bitch. Quite satisfying demise for her, though. If you read this, you will see exactly how satisfying her death is. Awkwardly, characters seem to bounce back quite quickly after witnessing horrific deaths, even horrific deaths of their loved ones. A man and his daughter lose their son and brother, and they bounce back quite quickly, move on with going after this Meg. They don't seem to grieve very much, especially the sister. The sister doesn't seem to grieve very much at all. Even Jonas, when his wife is killed, it doesn't seem to faze him at all. And then you have idiotic decisions like using a really ancient submarine to chase after this shark. Obviously a bad idea, it does not end well. You have a woman lowering herself in a plexiglass tube into the ocean to get closer look at this Meg, believing that she won't be in harm's way because the tube is too big for it to swallow. Obviously a bad idea. You have a really cheesy opening scene, a gorgeous blonde woman in a formal ball gown, basically, sweeping into a room where a lecture is being given. I immediately laughed at that because my response was, what the hell is she doing here? And even when you find out why she's there, you don't really understand why she chose to show up in that way. You have the start of a romance between Jonas and another woman that seems very cliche, very underdeveloped, very unbelievable. And then you have these idiotic people trying to capture this Meg and contain it for research purposes. It was a fun read, though, an enjoyable read. As I said, I was looking for something light, looking for something that would make me laugh. I did laugh. It was light. I was encouraged by a couple of booktubers on Twitter to tweet my progress as I read. They requested I use the hashtag #AmyReadsMeg, and I did, and I think they quite enjoyed my reactions to the novel. I know Jessie from Rebel Reads has read this. Erica, of course, has read this. I think this is also one of Steve Donohue's favorite novels, so I am just joining a slowly growing group of people who have read this novel. I'm not going to tell you to rush out and buy it because it is no great work of literature, but if you are looking for something funny, something light, maybe check out Meg by Steve Alten.